Right, so in this lesson, we're going to learn how to draw noses in 3/4 view. Now, the main thing to keep in mind is that a nose in 3/4 view is a mixture between the side view and the front view. And so like the side view, we're going to see this shape here, and then like the side view, we're also going to see this shape here. It takes on more of the characteristics of the side view than it does of the front view. Now, what I like to do is you take the whole nose, it kind of comes down like this. This is the basic shape. You have that nostril coming down here like that. So it's kind of a front view slash side view. That's the basic shape that you can draw for the nose. However, I like to draw it to where there's a slight shape here. Sometimes I'll kind of draw the philtrum part of the nose coming down there. And I might even draw like a little line here. Sometimes I might even draw like a little line in here like that to show the underplane. But that's the basic shape. And leaving this line here, sometimes you can even just break it up with a couple little dots, like so. It kind of makes it look like a highlight or something like that, and it makes it look cooler. It's really up to you though and how you want to do it. Now there's all different kinds of noses that we can draw here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go to this layer. I'm just going to kind of lighten up this layer a lot. One nose I like, it's really cool, and you'll see it used quite often. It's the same kind of idea here, is you come more from here, so kind of like that side view look, and kind of have a little bit of that's the kind of like where the philtrum is. Come up like this, kind of round it, and then kind of come more pointed, like this here. When you do that, just make sure you line up the lines the same. So this is coming down, it's not coming out as far. And then you kind of think about that top button look and just have a little line coming out, just kind of hinting at that top button look. And then from there, somewhere you want to have the nostril, and usually it's just a small little thing that you want to draw, nothing too much. And then that can be it right there. That's your nose. Sometimes even you might have a little indication of the flare, or you can have it drawn like this. You can have it even, kind of coming like that. But if I draw in this style, I usually just do like that, and that's a really cool looking nose. These are just different ways you can think about drawing the nose. There's obviously different types of noses you can draw, but we're dealing with pretty noses. And this is typically how pretty noses are drawn in comic books. Now, what's really important to understand is you're not trying to draw real life. So don't go and look at like real noses. I mean, I guess you can, and you can come up with your own way of how to simplify it. But what's important is that comic noses over the years have already developed awesome ways to simplify things. And so use that as reference. Look at your favorite comic books and things like that, favorite comic book artists, and see how do they simplify noses, because that's what you want to do. Now another type of nose you can draw, which is really cool, it's very similar to this nose here, is when you're coming down, you can actually have the line even connect more. Usually though, you always want to have some sort of break in the line. You can always make the break afterwards. You can draw the whole entire nose first and then break the line afterwards. So it's come up here to that point right here. Come down to pretty much just round the edge a little bit and come down to that same point. This time don't draw the philtrum in there. If you do, just maybe add it as a couple little lines like this, like a couple, literally just like little lines. Kind of hint at the bridge of the nose here just a little bit. And in this case, actually, we're going to come, this would be as if, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what would happen. What if the nose, if the person were turned a little bit more toward us, and so then the nose would have a slightly less angle to it. Something like that there. And now we want to kind of hint at the button part of the nose right here, just a tiny little line, just like that right there. Have the nostril be very, very tiny right here. And then you're going to have the flare of the nostril right here. And then you're going to have a very, very thin line like this. And this right here you can actually do with, I'm going to do it with the pencil brush here. This would be left, you can do this as a pencilist. If you're doing the whole thing yourself, you can do it with a little bit of color, or if it's in black and white, do a little bit of black and white. And that's that, and then maybe just have a couple little lines right here to show the separation of the nose. That's a really cool nose to draw. Really just variations of these is what you're going to be drawing. Sometimes you might see a little bit of the nostril flare on the other side of the nose here. And handle it with care. Look, if you do it wrongly, it looks very, very odd. And so typically it'd just be like a little thing like that right there. You kind of start from the bottom and then work your way up. Right, and then don't forget, I'm going to go ahead and click the transparency color here. Don't forget to kind of erase some of this like so. Right, now another thing you do to show the nostril over there, and this would be what I'd probably draw the whole entire nose a little different from this angle. We'd kind of come more like down here like this and then come over with it. Now we're going to see just a little bit more of the flare from the other side, and sometimes artists will kind of do just very basic shape like that, just to kind of show you can kind of see the flare on the other side. And what I would usually do when I draw that kind of nose like that is you wouldn't really see that here. This would just kind of come down right here. Sometimes like a little line to indicate the philtrum. Very thin line to indicate the nostril. It's almost like a shape like this, almost like a check mark like that. That's usually how nostrils, people will draw nostrils. That's how I like to draw them. Not every artist will draw them the same, but then hint at the flare. I'll get rid of this right here, and there you have it. Go like that. You can kind of come here. There's all different types of little lines you can draw. But those are different ways to draw noses. Especially from this more 3/4 view, I like to draw the nose how I did it before, like this. And sometimes I'll draw that little thing. And I like to do this shape here. It's almost like, zigzag. Other times though, I like to maybe kind of come down like, and it's all character specific too. Like different characters, I'll draw them a little bit different from 3/4 view. And so let's say I want this to be a different character, so I'm going to just kind of change it a little bit. I'll kind of draw the nostril like this, and then kind of have their nostril like that. Now, that's a slightly different character versus other characters. So there you have it. That's how you can draw different kinds of noses in 3/4 view. I like to have this be a little more pointy though. So I'm going to come up with that shape here just a little bit more, like so. I'm even going to break that line up a little bit more. And sometimes I'll even add a little line right there just to kind of show the shape of the nose. Right, so that's pretty much it. Drawing the nose from the 3/4 view is really, in comic books, if you just keep this core in mind and these ideas, you can pretty much draw all kinds of different noses. Just adding different parts of those elements. It really does help, obviously, to look at how some of your favorite comic artists draw noses, but also it can help looking at actual photograph of noses and go, hey, how can I simplify that into this type of comic book format? But typically, real life people aren't going to have noses like comic people. Comic people have different kinds of noses, but if you kind of want to add a little bit of that realism into it, think about how to simplify their nose. So get a 3/4 view of someone's face, your famous actress, whatever, and then think about how you can simplify the nose like this. So the main principles is that you want to have a missing line here. You want to just kind of hint at the edge of this part of the nose here, and then really simplify the nostril structure and everything. You can even try tracing over some noses and see what you come up with. But most likely, the nose structures that I've shown you are going to be the ones you really want to stick with as your core noses. That's what you're going to see in comic books. It looks pretty. It's already kind of been perfected. But you can always try to do your own thing. I mean, I do my own thing a little bit. It happens. Over time, I just develop a certain way that I draw. And you'll develop your own style as well. Okay, thank you for watching. And now, guess what it's time for? Of course, time for the exercises. All right, go ahead and watch that video now.